Alien 1979 review. Take 1. Hey, what's happening, everybody? I am Chad. This is my host,
Arianna.
Today, Arianna has just gotten a chance to go see Alien from 1979, a nice companion piece to Predator. So let's get her thoughts. Arianna!
Too early. What's up?
What did you think about Alien?
I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
It was weird. That's where I'm at mentally with that, because it took me on a little bit of a roller coaster.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, honestly, it's really surprising to me, because the reason why I haven't seen a lot of these movies is because I thought for sure I wasn't going to like them.
Right. Yeah.
I thought, sure, this is going to be cheesy, this is going to be tacky, I'm not going to enjoy it, it's not going to be well done, because that's just what's in my head.
Well, and they were surrounded by ones that weren't.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. And, you have a better option. You know what I mean? I guess, also, I wasn't alive then either.
Yeah, sure,
so,
right. Yeah.
So when it's coming up, and, I just never... Well, you know this about me anyway. I'm not a huge movie seeker, obviously, so I haven't seen any of these movies. I'll sit and binge watch a show before I'll sit down and watch a 2-hour movie just because of who I am as a person. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, totally.
But I will say every single one we have watched, I've thoroughly enjoyed in so many different aspects. And, this was, as comparable as it is to Predator, it was so much... the differences are insane, too.
It kind of feels to me like the thinking man's Predator.
Yes! It does!
Yeah.
Absolutely! Off the bat, first off, I didn't know that it was going to be on the spaceship the whole time.
Yeah.
Or on the ship. I thought for sure it was I thought for sure it was they're on a ship, they're coming back, something got on the hull while they're asleep, and now the Earth is you think they're gonna land on Earth, gotta save gotta save the Earth versus it just being on the entire ship.
Right.
So that was really, really cool. And honestly, the ship does not look bad for 1979.
No.
And for this to have taken place in the future, you know what I mean?
Absolutely,
it's clearly early 80s, late 70s, just the thing and technology, but it
but the
holds
sets in
up,
the thing are real. This is impressive stuff they did.
Good.
Yeah, I agree.
They did it's really well done.
Yeah,
it was
that's
really well done. And
if you're going to spend all your
crazy.
time in the woods or you're going to spend all your time on the ship, I think that the set design definitely is a huge, awesome thing about this movie.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was very well done.
Yeah. Not to constantly talk about Predator, but another great comparison is that they're both set up basically like these slasher films.
Yes.
You have this crew who's in a relatively confined or isolated space, and there's this one thing that is coming to go take all of them out. How did you feel about basically the act structures of our interaction? Because what I would compare is that with Predator, right off the bat, there's a full-blown predator, and it's hunting them almost immediately. Right. This movie, we kind of have the stage system. How did you feel about the stages?
The stage system. So, I love how it's kind of a combination of the Thing and Predator, in a little bit of way, because it's I don't know why. Why do they always have to be gross? Why do they always have to start out so slimy? But I also found that super interesting. Because by the end, he almost looks like he's metallic.
Yeah.
He starts out liquidy and gross. He's in an egg, and he's like an embryo or whatever the fuck that was. It moving inside of there grossed me out.
We call them face huggers. Yeah. They're gross.
Fuck. It was gross. And then you see it again, and it's slimy, but then it starts to look metallic. And when you see Dallas up in the thing again, what they look like they're covered in, the crew and stuff, it also looks metallic.
Right. Yeah.
So I think that was a really cool way to go. Way to go evolve the alien.
That's another question, I guess. Then too is what do you think about the creature design, especially the final form?
I was shook.
I think they're sick.
So you're metal and your blood's acid? Fuck you.
Well, and I also just mean the silhouette itself.
I said, it's intimidating.
I think half the value of Predator is that the Predator is just a cool looking alien. Yeah. And I think Alien, the Xenomorph, is a cool alien.
Also, the way they shoot the alien throughout is really, really well done because they keep him shaded at a certain point. You never see the alien head on. Because I'm at one point in time, trying to look at the computer screen this. I was like, oh yeah. But I have a glare. Do I have a glare? Because we do kind of have a baby glare from the blue light. But I'm like, do I have a glare? Is there a glare? Are you purposely? You know what I mean? I could definitely see myself trying to see it. And then at the end, I got it because it was the last 4 times there's that flickering light. And it did such a good job of maintaining the mystery, even though it's already been revealed, too.
Well, that's what's smart. He also blends in with the ship so much, because first off, the ship is dark colors and metallic, and so is he. But the other thing, too, is it's a lot of tubes all over the ship, and so that part when Ripley...
He's tubey!
Exactly, right. So when Ripley sees him and he's sleeping and he like moves out of the tubes, you're like, he just looked like the ship. Like, 100%. I was looking right at it.
Crazy. I thought that was super well done.
They're super dope. And I love the life cycle thing that I think is really interesting as well. I like again, Predator is a predator. We can assume that they probably grow up kind of like us.
Right.
But these aliens have this very specific system they go through, which is that there's these eggs, and then the facehuggers grab you, they impregnate you with, basically the small version of what will actually turn into a xenomorph, and then they call them chestbursters. The snake thing pops out of your chest, which we got to get into that as well. So what did you think about that?
Why are you explaining? Why is this making me more gross out than knowing what I just saw?
You just saw, right?
Because it's like explaining to me, I'm like, because it could live inside of me.
Oh, well, and that's why they did that. He actually, I
don't want it.
This is a little bit apocryphal, but from what I hear, Ridley was talking about how he felt like one of men's biggest fears is basically being penetrated.
100%.
And it's something that doesn't. So psychologically, it messes with you.
I've been watching botfly removals, and I'm
disgusting.
like, oh my god, what if that happened to me? I'm like,
no, for sure.
Like that in itself grosses me out. Let alone a whole ass alien. You're damn
100% right. Yeah, being impregnated, and then again, like you're being forcibly penetrated by something else. Is you don't want this, and it's and then it kills you. Yeah, it's a lot scarier than the thing just like comes and shoots you.
Yeah, you explained it to me. I was like, full body chills.
Oh yeah, no, they're no fun.
I'm like,
they're basically like they're like a viral problem.
Yes,
it's just huge.
Parasites,
right. And so they're no good. Yeah, right. So let's talk about that too. I mean, that's probably one of the huge grand scenes of the movie is do you remember his name getting chest bursted?
I did. I don't know. But
he's played by John Hurt, huge actor.
He comes out because he's the first out of like the pod thingies in the beginning. But I don't remember what his name is right now. I can name everybody else.
No, that's fine.
I'm pretty proud of myself for that.
That's good. They're trying to cut it off of his face, and that's when we establish the acid blood, which again is also really smart because it's like, we're in a ship, we can't leave the ship, but also we can't do too much to the alien because its blood will.
That's what makes it such an even better, know,
ramps up tension. Everything ramps up tension.
Creature.
Every act should be ranching the tension
By
up.
the fourth one, I think I went permanently. I didn't even go raptor claw. I went lobster. I couldn't even go raptor because I was trying not to touch my face.
Like
so
Pokemon
I went,
evolution.
No, I was, and then I just went full because I was like, I can't touch my face. I have makeup on, so I'm just sitting there like this, and I was like, oh god.
Well, and then he seems like he gets out of it for a second.
Yeah,
and then what were you thinking during that?
I knew something was happening.
Because something.
There's no way.
The movie's not going to end.
No, of course not. Yeah. And it's attached to your face and something went inside of you. No, you're not fine. You're not fine. I didn't know what was going to happen, but like that. So the whole evolution of that was insane. But also I like the fact that like it did evolve that way. Like I said, because it gives it more, like it almost put the movie in acts. Kind of like you were saying too. So it helped.
Well, and it's smart to have a break too.
Yeah.
Because then if it's constant whatever, then
I would have died. Because I was like...
I also think that you can get a little used to it. So you're kind of like, okay, I get it. So it's nice that it's like, oh, things got better. Like, he's okay now. They're just eating lunch together. They're cracking jokes. Everything's fine. And then it's like, nope.
No, we are not good.
The worst is yet to come.
So, So then that was crazy. All right. So... I already thought Ash was a dick.
Yeah.
I was already not a fan of Ash in the fucking first place.
Bilbo Baggins,
Dickhead.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Whatever, science man. But then him being a robot? How creative!
It is, because it gives a secondary villain that the movie maybe didn't even need.
And the villain is mankind itself. If you really get down to nitty gritty, it's a business.
Corporations.
It's an accusation.
Yes, absolutely.
Fuck the crew.
Yeah.
It's expendable if you have to go do it. You're a robot. Also,
100%.
making him like sweat and bleed milk was also really gross because I hate
that?
fucking milk. So like I'm really not hating. I'm just not a big milk person.
Milk?
I'm not a big milk person.
Strong stance today. That's all right. We're gonna get political today.
I am. I'm sorry.
Anti-milk lobby.
I'm so sorry. Well, no, it was because milk was forced up. Like our age group, my mom was like, you have to drink our milk because it was like got milk campaign. Like it's good for you, whatever. And I've always preferred water to milk. So when people are thirsty and they just like get a big glass of milk and drink it, I think it's the grossest thing in the world.
So yeah, that was the perfect monster made for Arianna. The man made of milk.
I literally see him was just like, he like takes it from me. I was like, yeah, you're gross. Yeah. Like I even say it out loud, and then he starts like bleeding milk, and then the milk comes out, and it's like,
it's all over.
What is?
I think was, also
such a great visual,
such a creative design for a robot too, which I think is really cool. I like that a lot.
Because how else are you gonna make him appear like he's got to consume something? So you might not necessarily see him eat, but you can. If you see him drink, you're not. You know, your brain's going to.
Well, and his weird, like, just his insides, what they're made out of. It doesn't. And stuff. Yeah, it doesn't. Right. It's just cool.
At first, I thought he was like part alien because it comes out stringy and stuff too.
I'm glad you bring that up because people. There's a line that is 80 yard where what's the black guy's name?
Parker.
Parker yells off screen, "Oh my God, Ash was an alien!" And people are pretty sure that was probably put in afterward, or not an alien. He was a robot or an android, because it does read right away if you don't know that. Like now we're so used to that's what their robots all look like, but before you probably would have assumed, oh, he has been like taken over by
Oh, I 100% thought that until he says that. Well, not necessarily.
So the line's useful.
Well, when they like bring him up to him and they're like doing all that stuff, had they been doing that?
Right. Once you start working on it,
but at first,
the knee jerk seems like he's
I was like, what is because
it's not how we see robots.
Choke her with a nudie mag.
I actually like that because it's just weird.
because his like brain is like not fully there. Like he doesn't exactly. Is it programmed exactly how to handle this situation? So he's I found weapon.
Yes, I think that's what it is, and I like the idea because it's kind of like he wanted because we would almost have this like idea of like, well, that's not how you kill a person. He's just like, this would work. And so I like that idea. I think
because you know what I mean.
And I'm like, I don't want someone to shove a freaking magazine down my throat. Sounds horrible.
It's gonna hurt. Like either way, you're gonna do something.
So how do you feel about Ripley?
I loved her character. I felt very frustrated. I think that's why I like probably got emotional, because I felt like right there with her.
Yeah,
like
for sure.
I was like the frustration. I'm like, you're damn right, you leave her out there. And then the fact that Ash overrides it, which makes sense for him being the robot and everything.
And he's a bad guy, so we get that.
So that override. And okay, Lambert got on my nerves. She was way too hysterical.
Everyone kind of hates her, but
I was like, when she comes in, like, stuff her, bitch, it's protocol.
But I also like, that's part of what works too, is that on the opposite end of the spectrum from Predator, these are not all commandos too. So they all have this sense of like, I am not getting paid for this.
Oh my God, Parker and Bill's banter that whole time, like, why are we doing, I'm not, no.
I like it.
Like, am I getting,
it's
like, oh, you don't get any of the money unless we go inspect this, like, whatever. And I'm like, God. And like, I just love how they were so money hungry from jump. They get up like, can't wait to get home, get my money.
The look of the set design plus the style of the characters inspired what people started calling space truckers, and this is like the movie that kind of kickstarted this. So
I'm not gonna lie, I can get down with the space trucker, like a Hawaiian shirt and a bandana. Let's get it.
And that the ships aren't like it's not Star Wars. They're not like slick and cool and stuff. It was like and so a lot of sci-fi was heavily influenced from Alien from then on.
Yeah, because I thought it was really cool though too, because like the comparison I think I made during my reaction was it's like the tugboat bringing in the larger ship like back into port.
Right. No, 100%.
So that's how that felt.
Most definitely, yeah.
And I was like, I mean, that's how I would expect someone on a cargo ship to look. I don't know. I just
look and act, way to talk.
Got Lieutenant Dan on the fishing boat in my head immediately.
No, I love it. It just grounds it. I think the filmmaking for being a pretty modest budget, for being kind of the first of that type, and then doing this horror thing. I really think it's one of the best versions, especially for like sci-fi horror. Yeah, I just think they nailed it, man, and they understood like the less is more thing. Absolutely. And Predator accomplishes that goal by making him invisible, which is fair. But this one, having him feeling like Batman, where he's like sneaking and skulking in all the corners all the time. He could be anywhere. Like it could be anywhere. I just think was really good. And then Ripley's not obviously the main character right off the bat, which I like too. I like that she kind of emerges as the main character as time goes on, because it could have been Dallas, it could have been
anywhere, because it went down. So
I dig it, So.
I think the part that got me that like really like I almost started crying was like was just like when she realizes she's the last one standing. Once she realizes Parker and Lambert are done, I think that was where I was like, oh my God! I think that's why, because it was like I thought she was such a great strong lead, where it's like she was clearly like not trying, but is tough. But then also super empathetic as well. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like she didn't want to see anyone die. She didn't want to leave him outside, but she was like, no, we're breaking. Puts us all in danger.
Absolutely right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Like I'm not saying like no, it's not great. But
and she's frustrated too because she's getting so much pushback. So I think you can also latch onto the frustration feeling of like, you guys are gonna get us killed. You know? Yeah. I think it's not just my opinion because it's a pretty widely held opinion, but like Ripley is considered like just one of the greatest heroines of all time. Oh, yeah. Great. And so I think like her and a Sarah Connor, there's just something about the 80s. They like, there's something that feels like they understood how to do female protagonists in action movies that just feels like we don't hit that same mark all the time anymore. Yeah. So it's just really weird.
Because it comes across practical almost.
Yeah, right. Well, they feel real.
They feel real. They feel like this is the way someone who like has a backbone and wants to succeed, but also because usually I feel like a lot of heroines these days are lacking one of the two.
Yeah.
Somehow they just overcome and like whatever, you know, but like really like fundamentally don't come across strong.
They do. Well, they do stuff sometimes where it's like if you're just doing Schwarzenegger from the 80s, then we wouldn't accept that from him anymore either.
Right.
Like, our new male heroes are not like the 80s cheeseballs either. So when you try to be like, oh, well, I know how to write a woman, I'll just write her like Schwarzenegger. It's like, well, we don't accept that from anything anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
Because those characters don't feel real and personable anymore, you know? And so I think, like, do you remember, like, The Mummy with Brendan Fraser? I think we talked about this before. I think his character is a great example of kind of during that transition period when it was like, no, he's like, he messes up and he fails and he kind of make jokes because he's kind of a real guy. He's not just like this, like, you know, imagine Schwarzenegger in The Mummy. It would be the worst thing ever.
It'd be so bad.
It would be fun in a different way, but I objectively do think The Mummy is a quality film, and it's not just Schadenfreude, which it would be if it was Schwarzenegger. So I think, I think maybe they got to that first with the female characters, and so they were just really because they've stood the test of time. I don't care. Sure. I don't care about. I didn't remember Homie's name from freaking Predator, but like I care about Ripley. I think she's awesome, and she's in further movies, which is really cool too. So let's go ahead and get into community post. Okay, so Johnny P says he worded it interestingly, but the first he said, "What was the first proposed title to the?" Oh, okay. He was doing that question talking that people do. They're like, "Look, is it going to be hard?" Yes. Okay. So I'm going to phrase it. The first proposed title of the film was Star Beast.
Star Beast. I mean, you know what she says?
It's true. It's accurate.
You're my lucky star at the end, so why not?
I wonder if they didn't change the name until after. But it's kind of fun because before we started recording, I was talking about how I always thought the name of the movie is so funny. Because, like, Predator's the same thing. It's just Predator. And this is just Alien. And it's almost like it's the ipso facto Alien movie when there's like a billion Alien movies. So it's so unspecific. But it's a huge upgrade, I think, from Star Beast.
Oh, I think it's a great upgrade. That's fantastic.
And also, I don't think that Alien screams the word beast to me. When I think beast, I think like hairy thing. You know? It's got to be like a Sasquatch.
That would definitely be my association with the term beast. Like Beauty and the Beast.
What animal would you? Maybe that's why. What animal would you most closely associate that does exist with the xenomorph?
With the full blown alien?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because obviously one of them's like straight up a snake in his like
nothing like a raptor.
Yeah, I'm trying to think like
a dinosaur or something.
You know,
bug. Well, at first it was giving me gross, nasty spider vibes, like when the spiders are like when they're like eggs and stuff, and then when we first see the alien, I was like, oh, is it like, you know, when the baby alien, when like the mama spider has her babies and the baby just bursts out, and that's what kills Charlotte. So anyway,
I do also like the egg design because it's like leathery.
It's so nasty. It's just all gross, but then it goes into like some type of sea creature. I don't know.
Did you ever see
just such a great mixture
Little
of all
Shop of
those.
Horrors?
No.
Okay, there's a plant that has a very similar articulation like the egg, and it's just gross. But yeah,
it's disgusting.
Yeah, so it's just very cool design, and I think someone's gonna bring up in the chestburster scene Veronica Cartwright, who's the one who played the lady you don't like. I
said she had pretty eyes.
She does actually. She's a pretty lady.
She was just hysterical, and I found it annoying.
I think. You know, you kind of want that character to represent the person who, like, isn't okay with what's going on. If everyone's kind of cool, then you kind of end up with Predator.
Yeah, so that's fair.
And again, for them not being, like, this isn't their job. It's to deal with aliens.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree.
I have friends in my life who would not be able to hang. And so it's like, she is annoying, but it's like, that's her job.
That's what she would be. You know what I mean? Like, if it was practical real world, like, because, like, if that's not what you're hired to do, you're not meant to keep the composure.
And it's nice because it's also not like, girls be shopping, because Ripley isn't acting that way. So it's like, different people are reacting different ways, which works.
For sure.
So in the chestburster scene, Veronica Cartwright was so shocked she actually passed out, which connects to another thing here.
They didn't know that was about to happen?
Yes, that's another one. Okay, here we go.
Titties.
So Chuckles Helicopter Wiggum Jones says, when the chestburster first comes out... That's a hell of a name.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's... No, I thought it was like an acronym. When the chestburster first comes out, the cast reactions to it are genuine. They knew roughly what would be happening in that scene, but hadn't been told or shown what the creature would look like. So when you see them freak out... I love that.
Could you imagine just seeing that? Ugh, I can't even see them. Seeing it on the screen, it was disgusting.
You even know it's fake, but still, like you're so shocked.
Fake,
you don't.
Gross.
I guess John Hurt would be the only one who would know.
Yeah.
Because he would have had to have done like test rehearsals and stuff like that. But the rest of them, it's like because I think their reactions are great.
Oh yeah.
One thing I love about it is how it's so violent and quiet. Everyone goes, oh, and then they just like freeze
because it just like leaves the room, and they're like, "What are we supposed to?"
Well, but even when he's in his chest still, like he pops out, and initially they all freak out, but they don't just all go like, "Oh my god!" the whole time. Everyone just kind of like, and I think that's so real.
Yeah.
When you like think you saw like a bird like fly in the house or something, like you just have this kind of like get really quiet, turn all my senses on. What is happening? Which direction do I need to run? What am I even looking at? And so I feel like that maybe was heightened by the fact that they didn't know.
They didn't know. It was good. It was really good.
But I love that homegirl passed out. That's so crazy.
Oh god,
that's so nuts.
Could you imagine being that high strung when you pass out?
Especially on a movie set, because you're also kind of like it's a movie set. Like it's not really.
I've never, knock on wood, I've never passed out. I don't want to start now.
Although it also makes me wonder. It's 1979. I mean, like this is the kind of movie that kickstarts a lot of this stuff.
Yeah,
like
it's not something that you've grown like desensitized to at all.
It's real.
You know what I mean? So
I think about that sometimes with the people who are in the movies that establish some of the gory stuff. You're kind of like, oh wow, they come up with that.
I just don't do gore well. I just
but also having said that, not the most gory movie.
No, it's not that gory.
That particular scene is quite gory.
Me out.
It's gross.
It's just gross.
But a lot of it's inference. I mean, like I don't know if we ever see the alien kill anybody as an adult. I think it literally is like turn around, and then cuts.
Yeah.
And then
except when you see like Dallas cuts. Up, like I said, covered in that like metal stuff, and they're all up there. That's like gross. So they're not really dead. They're just like, I will eat you later.
Well, actually, they get into it soon enough. But what happens is basically that's a process for how they make more eggs. And so that's like the cyclical nature is like they take people and then make more eggs. And so then those become facehuggers and they go and the cycle goes and goes and goes.
Do you see my eyes actively watering at the thought of that? That's the grossest shit.
Doesn't he say like kill me or whatever?
Yes,
yeah. That's why, because he's being made into like the
kill
egg.
Them all, please.
They end up.
I just thought you were doing as an active.
They retcon that later, but in the meantime, that's what's going on. Yeah, it's not good. It's not good. I think I would
80s movies are fucking gross.
Much rather run into the Predator.
100%. Please just kill me.
I think has a name.
Oh my god.
I think they're called like Yuan-Ti or something like that.
I don't need details right now.
Yeah, never mind. I have my fill. Mad Mardigan. He's back again. He says, and this is one of the ones I would have brought up if no one else did. So some people are saying that Ripley. Oh, great, that part doesn't matter. In the original script, none of the characters were ever gender identified, basically, allowing flexibility to cast men or women in any role.
Oh, cool.
This resulted in all the characters being referred to in the film using only their last names. Now, he doesn't get into this part, but this is the thing I want to get into. I think part of why Ripley is written so well is because she wasn't written as a woman or as a man. She was just written as a character.
Yeah.
And so Sigourney Weaver just got to come and bring what she wanted to bring to the movie, and it didn't ended up, there's a possibility that they could have maybe written her kind of lame and in a woman box. And so I think that may be part of why she's a well-designed character is because they just were like,
cool little bit of
what would a person do? And I think that's cool.
Versus just like a human.
Yeah. And they're not, Ridley Scott's good, but he's not the Coen brothers who can write like a Margie, so it's like
Margie.
So yeah, it's very did we talk about we did last time, I think. No Country where I was comparing, or was I talking to the chat? Okay. I remember because I did talk to the chat about that as well. The chat.
Oh, the Chad.
I talked to the Chad.
No, then you talked to the Chad. I was like, you are Chad.
That's my name for Tom Green. I still call him the Chad. But I do love that kind of that Margie type of character.
That's great.
And then, so he's saying Geiger's painting, Necronom 4, is the inspiration for the creature's design and the reason for hiring Geiger as the lead design artist for him. It can be seen here. Let me pull that picture up real fast because it's pretty cool to see how close they got to what he drew. And
that's wild.
It's really interesting because he's like this German guy who had this
like
really...
1976?
Yeah, sounds right, because the movie's 79.
Well, it says it right there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I'm saying it.
Wow, that is wild.
It's so close to what they came up with, which I think
that's crazy.
And so he obviously had this kind of like BDSM kind of sexual thing going on, which again, like I said, I think is what they kind of wanted to bring was like this feeling of like men sharing in the fear that women share in that they don't normally. So it kind of hits men from this weird other angle that they don't think about, you know? And I just thought, like, there was a lot of thought.
Why is that so deep?
Yeah, it's good.
But hey,
good, man. Yeah, I think it's freaking sick, dude.
Don't get you pregnant.
But it's
with an alien.
Yeah, how about that? Yeah, how do you like it? So yeah, just very impressed.
I didn't mean it to make that weird, but I couldn't help it.
I think, well, he was trying to make it weird.
He was making it weird.
So the Shaky Project says, the first of its kind, Alien has often been called a haunted house movie in space, which again, it's definitely a horror in space, but I guess the haunted house element is true because now we're also in this confined space where in the jungle it's not confined.
Yep.
It is isolated, which works, but it's not confined.
Yeah.
So feeling like you can't get away from the thing is definitely really creepy. It sparked many low-budget imitators, one of them being Galaxy of Terror. And that's kind of what I was saying earlier is like, it's nice for me to get to point out like, look, there's 50 of these like trashy movies that came out or whatever, but here's the ones that stuck out.
Yeah, for sure.
And oftentimes here's the first one because that's the one that ends up everyone else rips off. You know, like Halloween 1970, 1971 or whatever comes out. And then Friday the 13th comes out. And they admitted they literally were just trying to rip off Halloween. So here's the tidbit I was really interested in. James Cameron was a production designer on the film. His work there and the success of Terminator got him the job of making Aliens. So he was a production designer on this movie. He went and made Terminator 1. And so the sequel to this movie, Aliens, James Cameron goes and makes. So that's really cool. He gets to go from Terminator and Aliens, like these two huge franchises. Yeah. So out of those movies that have good sequels, Terminator and Aliens are two of the ones that do. Unfortunately, Predator's follow-up sequel is pretty whack, so we're probably not going to cover it. I forgot when we watched Predator that it was, and everyone in comments reminded me, no, that's the one that sucks. I was like, oh yeah, you're right. It takes place like in like the city. There's like voodoo black people. Like it's weird. It's not that good. Having said that, part of where the whole AVP thing comes from is that we end up seeing, remember how the Predator takes Billy's skull and like polishes it? We see in the second movie that he's got like a trophy case of a bunch of different skulls and one of them is a Xenomorph head. Now, the reality of it was that they just thought it was cute. You know, it's like, oh, we could put this and this. Oh, hey, we got one of those Xenomorph things in the back. Let's throw that in there. But it got people like freaking out over like, yes, Predator versus Xenomorph. Yeah, crossover. So I think
the things you can do with imagination.
So what we might do in the future, not like in a row, but like as we work our way through it, we might end up hitting maybe Aliens, because what's fun about Aliens is it's a totally different energy. The first movie is basically a horror film, and the second one is like a sci-fi action film. And it kind of created the idea of like the Space Marine, which has been used in everything sci-fi since. It's like Warhammer's all Space Marines and freaking StarCraft and Halo. Like it's just all Space Marines, and these are the kind of the ones who kind of kickstarted that.
Cool.
So that one's really fun and good, and it's cool to see Ripley come back. And now she's different because she's like the only person who's interacted with it before, so she kind of has more authority now, which is kind of cool. But all of that kind of gets us down to AVP. The other thing I got to double check on too is that there's two of them, and one of them may be better than the other one, so I might look into that because man, that first one's rough, bro. But we'll see. So yeah. Thank you so much for leaving comments. Appreciate it, guys.
Super appreciate it, guys.
Yeah, I mean, you got any closing things you want to say, thoughts? Yeah.
We're going down a deep rabbit hole of weirdness.
You like it?
I like it. I mean, I will say, quick tidbit. Looking at this, and the more and more I look at it, does that not, the profile, kind of look like the alien from Independence Day when they're up against the glass?
Yeah, I agree. The suit that it wears. Yeah, I totally agree. Feels very inspired by that's my favorite part. I love that piece. No peace.
No.
So good. So good. Yeah.
Love Independence Day.
Okay.
It's like one of my favorite. I'm kind of sad I've already seen it because I would love to watch that again for the first time.
We have a handful I would love to do. I would love to cover like Harry Potter. I'd love to carry Forrest Gump, Jurassic Park. Those are like all movies that both of you have seen. So yeah. All right. Love you guys. Catch you later.